Okay.
If all men tomorrow decide that women in the United States are slaves, are women in the United States slaves?
No.
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 Why wouldn't they be?
I think it would be
how could women stop it?
It would just depend. Like, would you want men to be dependent on women and have women be the predominant mode of production under capitalism?
I don't think it's possible.
But would you want that?
Well, I couldn't want a thing I don't think is possible.
Why?
Because it's not possible.
Well, why is it not possible?
It's not possible because women are not capable of doing the same types of things that men are capable of doing.
Such as?
Inside of society, enforcement.
Enforcement? Mm-hmm. So like police and...
No, military.
Military?
Mm-hmm. Military, policing,
I don't think
special
men
services.
I don't think men really are capable of that.
The men have gone and fought global wars time and time again and won.
Yeah, and what outcomes do they have?
They win the war.
They suffer severe PSD. They have a hard time integrating into society. That doesn't seem like a natural condition for men to be subjected to.
There can be symptoms of violence, but remember, not everybody gets PTSD, even combat veterans. A lot of them don't have PTSD. Some get PTSD.
Right.
But not only that, that's a coping mechanism. It's going to be individualistic. Men are definitely capable of extreme...
But it is an outcome of being exposed to extreme violence. Only for some people. I could say that about women.
Yeah, you can, but the problem when it comes down to enforcement is that women can't do enforcement.
What do you mean?
So I'll give you the easy hypothetical.
Okay.
If all men tomorrow decide that women in the United States are slaves, are women in the United States slaves?
No.
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 Why wouldn't they be?
I think it would be
how could women stop it?
It would just depend essentially on access to resources.
Yeah, men have the access to all the resources because they made you slaves.
Well, that's how women could stop it.
Women couldn't.
It would just be a fight over resources.
How come women can't stop it in Islamic nations? And when they just go, okay, you're all slaves.
Well, obviously, in Islamic nations, they don't have access to specific resources.
Nobody has access to resources if men don't allow access to those resources. Nobody, because men have a monopoly on force. That's feminist theory. Feminists understand that. Even Marxist feminists know this, that men have a monopoly on force. So, in other words, if men collectively...
Under patriarchy, I agree.
No, under any hierarchy, they're going to need to have men as their monopoly on force. I'll give you an example. If tomorrow men decided to enslave all women would be enslaved. However, if tomorrow all women decided to enslave all men, they do not have the force doctrine and requisite necessary to do so. They could not do it. They just couldn't do it
within any context?
No.
So if women had access to all the drones, if women had access to all the water supply,
who repairs them all?
Women had access,
we repair
if women
them all.
had access to, women can have the capacity to repair. I don't understand
Okay, so here's what I would say. Let's do this experiment this way. If women had access to all of the firearms on Earth that exist, okay, and every weapon which exists, and they have access to all of that, they still don't have the requisite brute force that would be necessary to keep men under control. They just wouldn't. It wouldn't be possible to do long term.
What do you mean
even
by
short term?
What do you mean by brute force? That they just wouldn't be able to pull the trigger?
No, that men are much, much, much stronger, and that guns are only an equalizer until men take your guns.
Right, and obviously they would have to get close enough. But I don't care how strong you are if you don't have water and food. What are you going to do? Well, it's really
simple then. Do you think that if you were the head of a prison, would you rather have all male or all female guards? If you were dealing with dangerous prisoners, even if both had access to guns.
I guess it would depend what the goal is. I think
to keep the prisoners who are dangerous under control.
I think women can make really great police officers because they are less likely to use excessive force. They're more likely to de-escalate, where men are more likely to escalate.
More likely to get disarmed, more likely to get beaten up, more likely to accidentally shoot a suspect. They're more likely to do all sorts of things to the contrary as well. But there's also way fewer females who are in the police force because they can't meet the minimum requirements, which are necessary to be a cop. They can't meet the necessary minimum physical requirements. Same thing in the military. They can't meet the necessary minimum physical requirements to be in the infantry. Most women can't do it.
Right.
So men have a monopoly on force, and because of force doctrine, this ends up coming down to this idea. If it is the case, you say that women can do anything that men can do, I counter this by saying they cannot. They cannot do enforcement. This is uniquely a male thing. There are some women who can be introduced, who can meet these standards, but on average they can't.
Well, I think if we're to kind of bring it to an analogy, if the fence is 6 feet tall and most women are 5'8", then yeah, of course they're not going to be able to meet that standard. So is the standard just specific to certain male criteria that? Well,
it would be the criteria of you need to handle a male. So if you're a female police officer, you need to be able to handle a male, right?
Yeah, but obviously, you have tools to aid in that. That's what I'm saying. Just because women aren't meeting these criteria,
do you have
doesn't
to get
mean
close to a male when you're a police officer as a female in order to put handcuffs on them, stuff like that?
Yeah, but you have pepper spray and stun guns.
Yeah, and routinely women get disarmed, and they're routinely overpowered by suspects. Routinely. Happens often. And
sure, and men often use excessive force, and then they're sued.
Yeah,
and
maybe,
then people
but
die.
When you say men use excessive force, you're just demonstrating my point that men have a monopoly on force. Yes, maybe it's excessive, but they're capable of using it.
Use force, sure.
No. They're just better at using force because they're much stronger. They're much stronger. They have much denser bones, so they're much more capable.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, so
the average male is stronger, sure.
Well, significantly stronger. It's not an insignificant amount between the average male and average female. Now, I want this point to drive home because it's often stated there's this small marginal difference. No, it's a significant difference. 60, 70% in many cases.
Okay.
Much, much, much stronger. This being the case, men have the complete monopoly on force doctrine because they're much, much, much stronger. Just raw brute force, which if you reduce rights, you reduce society, reduce everything to its rawest principle, it's going to be brute force.